Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to another video on the channel. I've taken a bit of a chance here doing the video here tonight outside St James's Park. As you can see, supporters still exiting the ground. A lot of them from the hospitality, so everyone's had a few drinks, including myself. But anyway, we don't need to go into that. Watched the match in the barracks today, which is a little bit different to the press room. And yeah, look, it was difficult viewing, I have to say. Not an enjoyable 90 plus 6 minutes. Don't know if you can still hear me. Ambulance going past. Not an enjoyable 96 minutes, but look, it was a win nonetheless. Newcastle just needed to win. Doesn't matter how you did it, but you got 3 points on the board on the back of that win against Benfica in midweek. Now, the one takeaway from today for me was sitting watching the game with my partner Shannon, who is holding the phone for me at this moment in time. Thanks, mate. And she said to me with about 20 minutes to go, it looks like all the Newcastle players have had 2 night nurses before the game. They were just like wandering around, couldn't get their head off the pillow, really struggling to get going. And I have to say, for once in my life, I actually agree with her. It did seem like that. It was like they'd taken a couple of night nurses. They just could not get themselves going, were tired. Just looked really fatigued from the midweek win over Benfica, and I think that today just showed how difficult it is to go again after a Champions League game. But look, when it comes to that situation, it's all about getting the 3 points, getting the points on the board and getting yourself up that league table. It might not be pretty, it wasn't pretty, but just getting yourself into that position, you get there. Now, Bruno Guimaraes, of course, gets all the plaudits for the goal, tucked it away nicely on the rebound, but for me, and this is a sentence I never thought I would say, all the credit goes to Will Asula, because look, for me, he's shown nothing really since he's been a Newcastle United player other than what he brings to the dressing room in terms of his personality. We've seen the videos this week with Johan Wissa and Malik Chow, etc, etc. And all I hear is that he's a really good character and he's a good guy and he's a brilliant person to have around the place. But for me, I've not seen it at all in any of the games. But I thought Eddie made a really, really good sub today, brought off Voltemada. I would have probably brought off one of the full-backs, maybe Kieran Trippier, and gone with a back three and left Voltemada on as well. But he made a big risky decision, took off Voltemada, put on Asula, and within a second of him being on, he was pressing the Fulham back four, and it was something we hadn't seen for the 90 or 85 minutes before that, and he just kind of put the frighteners up them a little bit and cut inside, had the shot parried of course by Leno and tucked away well by Bruno. And look, as difficult as an afternoon it was for Bruno, I have to say, it looked like he was running through treacle at some points. Like, he looked really, really laboured because he plays so many games and he always makes himself available. And Eddie made a point on his press conference on Friday and highlighting that Bruno's always available to play. Never wants to let the side down, and of course he popped up with the goal and tucked it away really well, and fair play to him for that. But I have to say, his performance and like the majority of the rest of them was fairly poor, but that has to be accepted in many of these matches. Going through the rest of the team, again, the wingers, Gordon didn't score again. Yes, Jacob Murphy did. Should have scored a second, by the way. Had he scored that second, I think the game would have been out of sight and more comfortable. Voltemada, flicks and tricks and decent, but he just looked to me tired towards the end. And I thought going into this game there was a chance Eddie might have started with Asula through the middle just to mix it up a little bit. That to me looked like a game too many for Voltemada today. It just to me looked like he was tired, particularly in that second half. But look, as I'll say again, it's all about getting the win today, all about getting the 3 points on the board. This was a fixture, of course, that you lost last season. A 1-1 draw would have left this place deflated at the end, but you could just sense the relief and the ecstasy. And look, football fans, you're happy if you win, aren't you? Gets you a little bit further up the table. You're not any closer to Sunderland though, you don't need me reminding you of that. Looking at the league table, they're flying there in second position. Look, it's going to be hard there when you go there in December. You need to try and get a run of results together before you go there. But look, it just shows what good recruitment togetherness does. You guys have had that for a while, and look, I was at All right, I was at Sunderland actually last week, and I have to say the way things are going there at Stadium of Light at the moment, it feels to me very much like the early days at Newcastle under Eddie Howe, when you made this place a fortress. That is what it's becoming a bit like at Sunderland. So without trying to turn this into a Sunderland video, I think you guys need to be aware of that ahead of that game in December when you go there and play the week before Christmas. But look, all in all, poor performance. Really poor performance. A couple of night nurse for each of the players. Probably need a couple more night nurse tonight just to give them a good 9 hours sleep. It was difficult to watch. It wasn't pretty. It was really turgid at times. But look, you've got the 3 points on the board. You move on. Spurs midweek, Carabao Cup. I would make a couple of changes for that game, I have to say. I'd bring Ramsey back in. I'd probably start Asula actually. I'd switch things up a little bit. I can't believe I'm saying I'd start Asula. I never thought I'd ever say those words, but he looks fresh, he looks energetic, and that's what Newcastle need right now. They need energy. You did not have that in the second half, but that last 5 minutes of energy from Will Asula, for me, won Newcastle the 3 points today. Okay guys, leave your comments below. Keen to hear what you've got to think. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.